Well, you know what time it is?
What time is it?
It is 2:33 p.m.
Oh, wow.
But more specifically, it's time for another episode of American Brews and Tunes.
Woo!
Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes. Shibbity-beeby-dow!
Shibbity beep it dow is right.
That is right.
Yes,
you
it
said
is.
it in the theme song, and you said it now.
Yeah,
You heard it here, you heard it first. Shibbity-beep-dow.
that's right.
Anyways, welcome again to American Brews and Tunes.
Yes, welcome.
This is one of our regular episodes, not those one-offs that we've been doing of late.
As of late, this is more proper and more regular.
Correct. So, as all of you regular listeners remember from that last full episode, which I believe was David Bowie and Hostage Calm,
Yes.
you already know the albums that we've been listening to.
But for those who are just joining us today for the first time, or maybe it's tonight, or maybe it's the morning, who knows?
Yeah, whenever you're listening to this, perhaps at the first time.
Last time, Steve recommended for me the album From the Ashes by the band Pennywise.
And Jesse recommended for me the album Marquee Moon by the band Television.
Yes, not
Yes.
the self-titled album from the 90s.
Yes, I did make the mistake of forgetting the album, and I was listening to their self-titled album for about a week. And
really funny whenever Steve told me that.
because I don't like their self-titled album.
Because I had literally texted him, Marquee Moon by Television.
I was like, okay.
And then he started listening to the
Television
self-titled
by
one.
Television. Whoops.
They're like a complete 180 difference.
Yeah. For those of you who are like, why are these random dudes recommending albums for each other to listen to? Well, that's just the format of the show. So
the only reason.
welcome to our format.
Yeah, welcome.
Every other week we have the regular episode where Jesse listens to usually a punk rock themed album that I recommend for him, and I listen to a usually more folk or alternative record recommended
indie.
by Jesse.
Or indie,
Or
or alternative rock, or an album that I like.
Yeah. So we recommend albums for each other to listen to. We come back and review them. Not only do we review those two albums, we review two brand new beers.
Ooh!
Now you may be thinking, wait, every other week? Well, then what the heck happens on that week where you don't have an episode?
Yeah, why can't I listen to stuff from you guys then? What the poo?
Well, we just recently solved that problem for you by doing what we call one-off episodes.
One-off episodes.
One off. It's a one-off episode.
All right,
it's-
John Williams.
Yeah, but that's where we just take an album that we both really like and we review that by itself while trying only one beer.
My name's John Williams, and I like fifths. La 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 la.
Yes.
I was just thinking about how a lot of John Williams scores, he uses the jump from tonic to fifth quite a bit.
Like that.
Yep.
Anyway, goodness gracious.
Anyway, back to what we were saying before, what Steve was saying before. Well, I got distracted by thinking about John Williams.
But we have those one-off episodes every other week. But
Yes.
now, since we're in the regular portion, the regular episode right now, we might as well talk about these two albums that we've been listening to. But wait, what's that?
Hold the
horses.
hold your horses.
This isn't American Tunes. This is
No.
American Brews
That'd
and
be
Tunes.
weird. American Tunes.
Yeah, that just seems like it's
You can-
only half of a
You
podcast.
can go to the radio for that.
Yeah. So why don't we do the brews portion?
Okay, why don't we do that first?
All right. We had two new brews this week.
Yep.
And they're actually both Pittsburgh beers. When I was back for Christmas, I picked up a fun assortment of Pittsburgh beers that you can't really get down here.
Down here in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah. You can get certain Pennsylvania brews, such as Victory or...
That's true.
What's another good one?
You can't get Trogs down here either.
No, you can't get that. You can get Victory. You can get Yingling.
True, you can get. Yingling's not bad.
No,
It's not-
Yingling's decent.
As far as the cheap beers go, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, it's cheap and it's standard, at least
Standard in
here
definitely
and
standard
in Pennsylvania. It's hard to find west of the Mississippi, from my
No,
understanding.
I've never seen it in Minnesota.
Yeah, but if you go to a bar in Pennsylvania and say, I'll have a lager, they'll probably give you Yingling.
Oh, yeah.
In the same way that if you're in Boston, you say, I'll have a lager, they'll give you Sam Adams.
Yep.
Yeah. But what do we have this week? I am drinking a beer from the brewery called Rusty Rail, which is from Milfenburg, PA, which is near Pittsburgh, I believe. And the beer is called Rail Spike IPA. Wow. Here's a little description on this beer.
Go for
Known for their incredible strength, railroad spikes were hammered deep into the ground in order to hold tracks together and keep massive steam engines on course. Forged from the Centennial, Columbus, Simcoe, Chinook, and Cascade hops, our Rail Spike IPA delivers a sharp flavor as strong as dependable as the hardware it is named for.
Oh, wow.
Wow, I like how they keep the Rusty Rail brewery
Theme
name
going.
kind of going in the name of this beer. Clever. I'd like to investigate some of their other beers to see. Maybe they have the locomotive brown ale or the
smokestack or
smokestack stout
or coal furnace engine crispy IPA.
crispy or the train car pulling pilsner. Oh my goodness gracious.
Or
Anyways,
the craft caboose.
maybe.
It brings you back down to your bottom.
Or the caboose cream ale.
Caboose cream ale. That's a good one.
I'm trying to think of a beer that started with C. That's the only one I can think of.
That's the one I can think of.
What are you drinking this week?
Well, I'm also drinking a Pennsylvania beer, right? Voodoo?
Pittsburgh beer,
Well, doesn't say Pittsburgh on here. It says Meadville.
which is Pittsburgh. It's close enough.
Close enough. Okay.
That's like saying where we live is kind of like Hermitage, but we say Nashville.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Well, technically we live in Nashville because
Yeah. Well, yeah.
address is in Nashville, but whatever.
Yeah.
That's just pish posh, tiddly pack. You know.
I do not know. That's a strange little phrase.
Those are just the words that came out of my mouth.
Smorgasbord.
Anyway, this beer is from Voodoo Brewery, and it is called Gran Met. Is that a T?
Yes.
Met?
Grand
Okay.
Met.
Gran Met. I'll read you the description of this beer. It is, in parentheses, Grandmaster, is a flash of delicate flavors.
Oh, delicate.
This holy grail of Belgian styles is one for the connoisseur of craft beer.
Okay.
At Voodoo, we use a special technique of adding beet sugar to the ale as it is fermenting to soften the ester. Ester is it? It's not Easter.
I don't know. Easter? I like Easter.
Ester. E-S-T-E-R.
Let's say Esther.
Ester flavor production, which helps in the delicate nature of this ale. We hope you feel that we are doing our best to honor this wonderful heritage. So this is a Belgian style ale. It's unfiltered, and I don't know. It sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
It
I've
has
had
a very
that one
strange
before. And I
picture on
remember
it,
it being
but-
sweet but good.
Okay.
I did a little bit of research. Meadville's just north of Pittsburgh by maybe like an hour or so.
Okay,
So not nearly as close as I thought. And this one's close to Union Township, was about an hour from Pittsburgh. But still
Okay.
close enough to be local Pittsburgh beers.
Both Pittsburgh. You'd consider that a Pittsburgh brew?
Yes, I would.
Well, I don't know.
Let's just consider it for this podcast. If
Okay.
you don't like that, sorry, send us an email.
Please.
Send us a message on
Please.
the social medias. So what say you that we crack these beverages and pour them?
Okay. Ooh.
Mine did not give much in the way of a sound.
Neither did mine.
Well, that's okay.
It was just like
That's okay.
it was like this.
Mine has a delicious color.
You can't taste color, Steve.
Well, I can use delicious in whichever
Who
way I
knows?
want.
Maybe you can. Mine kind of looks like Mountain Dew color.
If we're gonna go in the route of pop,
Yeah, go in there out of pop.
I'm not really sure what color mine would be.
Well, mine kind of looks like Mountain Dew mixed with just a little bit of cola.
Mine looks
Enough to give it a
Yours
brown.
looks like apple juice.
Yeah, that's good too.
Mine looks like hazy apple juice. It's not a good descriptor, but mine has a nice foamy head on the top.
Well, you guys all know what apple juice is.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, there you go.
Well, maybe you don't. I don't know.
What's your smell like?
Let me see. Ooh, mine smells really sweet.
Mine has a nice subtle hop smell.
Mine has no hop smell.
Not potent, just barely like hops, but you can definitely smell it. It's there. It's very subtle. Yours
Ooh,
smells
yeah,
fruity.
yours does.
Yours smells fruity. It smells like that Belgian yeast. So
Yeah.
what say we give the cheer and try these beers?
You know what? Why don't we?
Yes. Why don't? What say you? Well, here it goes.
Shibbity
Shibbity-boo-doo! Oh, You know what? The flavor follows the smell, which I think is a good thing. For my my whatever you call this Rail Spike IPA, it's very subtle in the hop department.
Is it more of the meaty hot pellet flavor, or is it more of the crisp, like citrus flavor?
I would say it's a crisp hop flavor, but I wouldn't say it's citrusy. If that makes sense. Okay. It's not aggressive like like a West Coast IPA, but it's not citrusy like the New England style. It's
okay.
Probably before like West Coast style IPAs got real big. This would probably be like a standard IPA.
Okay.
What about yours?
Man, mine also smells like it. It tastes like it smells.
Sweet.
It's very sweet, and I can kind of see what they're saying with the beet sugars, because there's the sweetness isn't like the sweetness. I'm trying to think of this. It's not the same type of sweetness that a cream ale has, or like a just regular lager has.
Yeah,
where it's not agree. Like, I mean, sugary is not the word, obviously.
Like an unbalanced sweetness.
Yeah, like a very.
For those of you who know much about beer, malts give a natural sweetness to the beer. That's why they add hops to balance it out. On cheaper lagers, they don't really have much hops, so you get that malty sweetness up front, which isn't necessarily at all what you're talking about, but just to provide some context.
Yeah. It's less of that aggressive sweetness and more of a very mellow sweetness.
Yeah.
So I would assume that comes from the beet sugars.
It has to.
Because
they use that for...
the sweetness is really, I wouldn't say it's like earthy, but it almost has an earthy texture to it. If that makes sense.
A lot of Belgian rock sugar comes from beet sugars.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
I like it. If they distributed this down here, I would probably get it maybe once a month.
Fair enough.
Maybe.
It's a nice treat.
Yeah.
They have a version of that beer which was aged on some type of fruit. Like it's aged on fruits. I can't remember off the top of my head what. But it's, I think, even better than this version, which is quite nice.
Actually, I'm going to amend my answer. I would get this once a month in a sixer mixer.
Oh, interesting.
So I wouldn't want to have an entire 6-pack of it, but it is a nice kind of sweet, mellow treat.
This beer I would have, again, for sure. It's really easy drinking. Almost in the way that a session IPA is. That they're really easy drinking. Like, you can have multiple of them, but it tastes way better than a session IPA.
Okay.
And it clocks in at like 7.1%. So,
instead of like 4.5.
Yeah, so you probably don't want to have a full 6-pack of this. You'd be down for the count.
Probably,
but it doesn't taste like it's 7.1%. And your beer actually is pretty high graph.
9.2%, and it does not taste like
that. Extra 2.1 is a lot.
Yeah,
in beer.
This does not taste like a 9.2.
But I'm pretty satisfied with this. I'm a happy camper right now.
You want to do a little switcheroo ski?
Yeah, you mean switch ski?
Switch ski.
Let's do a switch ski and see what we think ski. Yeah, that smells nice. And the flavor, you're right, the flavor definitely follows through with this one. It is, like I remember, not as sweet as I remember, actually. I remember it being sweeter, but that's quite nice.
I definitely agree with you on yours.
Mellow.
It's like a mellow and it's
crisp. Not aggressive.
It's definitely crisp, but I would say it's more like that. It's more like that meaty hop than a citrus hop.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who don't really get what I mean by meaty hop, if you were to take a pelletized hops, and smell it, and then
smellitize the pelletized,
and then proceed to chewitize it.
Crunchitize it.
That smell of a pure, like, raw hop pellet is kind of the taste that I get from that.
I mean a rop pellet.
A rop pellet.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense.
Or a roplet. Roplet.
Roplet.
That sounds like a name of a Pokemon.
Droplet that roplet, yo. Well,
roplet,
anyways,
go!
Like always, if our taste buds change, or if the flavor of this beer changes as they warm up, as this flavor of the beers warm up to our taste buds, we will let you know, because we're going to continue to have them.
Because as everybody knows, whenever a beer warms up, that is how it truly tastes.
That's why when people talk about warm beer being gross, it's usually because they're having cheap beer.
Yep. And it tastes better when it's ice
cold. Don't have
cold.
that Bud Light warm.
So you know the Coors Light
cold as the Rockies.
Cold as the Rockies.
Yeah, when it's cold.
Brewed, filtered, and packaged cold.
You can't really taste it when it's cold.
Yeah. You can't taste the actual flavors of the beer when it's cold. But anyway, enough about that.
Yeah. I don't know who went first last time about the albums, but I'm going to go first this time.
I think that I went first last time.
So I'll go first this time.
All right.
Since you described this beer as like meaty, let's jump into the meaty album.
Okay. Well, I mean, this is arguably also meaty.
Yes, but in a different way.
Yeah.
So here we go. Television, Marquee Moon. Like we said before, I was listening to their debut album, or I'm sorry, their self-titled album on accident because I forgot which one Jesse recommended.
Even though it was in a text, and you could just look back and look at it.
I was like, Jesse, I don't really like this album. And I was like, it sounds like they're trying to recreate the sounds of the 80s. I mean, that's really ahead of its time, I guess. And I was like, not really, because the album I thought he was talking about was from 1992, but he was actually talking about an album from 1977. Yeah. And that's the album that I am reviewing right now, Marquee Moon, which was released early 1977, the debut album from Television. Television was a New York, and I say very generally, punk band. With quotation marks around punk.
A lot of people more would classify them as like...
Oh, they've been classified as a lot of things.
Like pre-indie.
Yeah, they've been classified as experimental punk,
yeah.
avant-garde punk.
Yeah.
The reason they were lumped in with this punk genre is because they played regularly at CGBG's, which was a huge punk rock venue. Their contemporaries were people such as Patti Smith, the Ramones, Blondie, all these like punk bands from the 70s in New York City. The bands that played really simple songs like 3 chords.
Yeah,
like Sheena is a punk rocker, you know.
Sheena is a punk rocker. But apparently their guitarist, one of their guitarists, I can't remember what his last name is, but apparently he and the other guitarist, the guy, they did the main songwriting. Mm-hmm. They, the one guy who stayed in the band was like, they were kind of clashing a little bit. And
the other guy with the name of, I can't remember his first name, but his last name was Hell.
Yeah,
he was a bass player. He wanted to do more punk songs, and the lead singer did not. Yeah. So they clashed and broke up.
Yep. But then he went on to play with... He formed the band The Heartbreakers, who played with that lady.
Who knows?
Someone in The Heartbreakers, right? Yeah.
I don't know. I only know Tom Petty and The Heartbreakers.
Oh.
But I know you're right.
So anyway.
But anyways, unlike all the punk bands that were playing at CBGBs and all their contemporaries, Television wrote and played really intricate songs that had really different arrangements and elements of jazz and all kind of weird non-punk stuff in the music. That's about non-punk stuff.
I would say the biggest thing that's not punk about this, or at least not like Pennywise,
is they didn't play power chords.
Like almost 0 chords are played in this album.
They were extraordinarily technical, like really technically proficient at their instruments.
Yeah.
They didn't do power chords. They had a lot of riffs. But this album was super influential, and I'd say it shaped punk, alternative music, and indie going forward.
I would say even like a lot of the indie music that I've listened to, like I could see how people would listen to this and be like, man, like that's awesome. Like I want to do something more like that with less chords and more flowing guitar melodies and whatnot.
Yeah. The first thing that struck me when I listened to this album was the guitar lines.
Yeah.
And his vocal style.
Yeah.
It's a very unique vocal style. I might almost liken it to 80s pop music. You have to listen to it for yourself to kind of gauge what you think about it, because that's a strange way to describe it, because 80s pop music could mean a bunch of things. That's just what I thought of when I heard it for the first time. Mm-hmm. But listen to it and see what you think. As always, I'm gonna go through the song listing. I'm only gonna recommend 3 songs. I do have one honorable mention. The songs I do not recommend, I will try to go over those very briefly.
Very briefly, yeah.
The first song is called See No Evil. I do recommend it, and I gave it a rating of True TV, which is a TV channel.
I knew you were gonna.
One of my favorite TV channels. Jesse thought I was gonna use a rating system of TV shows, and I told him no, because that was TV channels. True TV is great because they play Impractical Jokers and a whole bunch of other great shows.
Impractical Jokers, what a funny show.
It is. Pretty much every show on there is great. I was holding that in. But anyways, See No Evil, the first song on the album. I liked it immediately. I think it's a great album opener. It starts off with this guitar line, do 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 do, which I don't. It doesn't sound. It's hard for me to actually make that guitar noise, but it's just really cool sounding, and it kind of goes throughout the entire verse. It's a fast song, like super high energy, and it really kind of sets the tone for the album. I think it gets you excited for the rest of the music.
I see no.
As far as like melodically speaking, I would say that guitar line, which starts out in the intro and proceeds throughout the verse, is more melodic and catching than his actual vocal melody.
Yeah,
I almost don't pay attention to his vocals in the verse.
Yeah.
But once you get to the chorus, that's where I think it kind of switches and the guitar moves to a more arpeggiated, like picking individual notes in a chord type phrasing, and the vocal melody really kind of shines then.
Yeah.
So they kind of do like a switch between the verse and chorus, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Lyrically, I think the song's about wanting to do things that are either impossible or morally wrong. Like, when I say impossible, like, he talks about jumping over a mountain or flying, which could be a metaphor for doing bad things.
Right.
But ignoring the potential consequences, because he keeps saying, I see no evil, when talking about these things.
I see no destructive...
I also did read that he studied a lot of like French poetry and like really artsy avant-garde stuff to influence his writing.
Yeah, apparently
they were learned.
He moved to New York to become a poet.
Yeah, and actually the bass player who was in punk rock did the same thing, which is really odd.
Yeah. Kind of cool though.
There's an awesome guitar solo in the song. It shreds. That actually happens in most songs. The guitar solos belong in rock and roll, not punk, so that's why it's hard to call this band a punk band, even though they were in that scene.
Yeah.
Anyways, like I said, I recommend the song, and it's a great album start. I think anyone who listens to this would enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
The next song is called Venus. I gave it a rating of ESPN, because unless you're like trying to watch for something, maybe you're not going to like it.
ESPN.
Yeah, I mean, me being a general sports fan, I can usually find something I like on ESPN when it's on.
But if it's like they're talking about a team that I don't really like, or they're talking about a sport I don't really like, I'm not going to tune in.
And so this song, it can be good when I'm like at certain parts, but I can tune out.
Yeah.
It slows down the pace big time compared to the first one, but it's still really catchy, and it's super impressive guitar work. Lyrically, the only thing I'm going to say about it is there's one line in the chorus where he says, I fell right into the arms of Venus de Miro, which is a statue that has no arms.
Really?
Which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
I guarantee you've all seen this statue. It's really iconic. So he's, like I said, he's well learned.
Making a little joke.
Yeah.
Making a little jokey joke.
There's a really cool guitar hook at the end of the chorus. I'll let you guys listen and figure that out for yourself. On to the next song, which is called Friction. I also recommended this song.
Oh, nice.
And I gave it a rating of AMC.
AMC, okay.
Yeah,
nice.
AMC is a great station because they play great movies generally, and their TV shows are really good. Like they had Breaking Bad, The Walking Dead, Mad Men, all AMC stuff. So comic book ones on there too. Great programming, whether it's TV shows or whether it's movies. So it's a good all around. I think this song is a really cool start. The lead guitar line almost makes it sound and feel like a psychedelic song, which is really different compared to the first two songs. And it's definitely not punk. Like, I know they're lumped in with all these punk bands, but when you hear this, you're like, these guys played at the same place as the Ramones, and it's like, wait, not at all like them. I'm really not sure what the song's about. Maybe getting into trouble.
Friction!
Yeah, the vocals and the lyrics are not why I recommended this song. But the reason I recommend it is because the guitars. There are some really awesome guitar licks that they just throw in randomly during the verses and the chorus.
Yeah.
And it's not like annoying guitar licks. It's really tasteful, and it amplifies the sound of the song. And it's pretty awesome. There is a guitar solo which is pretty blistering, which I would say.
Blistering.
It melts my face off.
Oh, does it now?
Yeah, much more of a rock and roll kind of song, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like I said, the guitars is what sold me on the song, not the vocal melody, not the lyrics. I mean, the melodies and the vocals are fine, the lyrics are fine.
Yeah.
That's just not what sold me on the song. The music is. On to song number 4, which is called Marquee Moon. I gave it an honorable mention, and I gave it a rating of the History Channel, because the History Channel has some great, awesome things to watch, but sometimes they can be a bit long. And why do I say that? Because this song is almost 11 minutes long.
Yep.
However, I would say that and I think a lot of people would agree this is the album's centerpiece.
Yeah, for sure.
The album's only 8 songs long, so this falls right around the middle. 4 and 5 would be the middle tracks. But this song is super long, and I might go as far as to say it's their most iconic and most popular song.
I would say so, yeah. Just because of that, like the intro.
And that opening guitar line.
Down out, down out,
the one
down
that
out.
Which comes back a ton of times in the song and plays out throughout the verse.
Yeah, I always like whenever the drums come in because it feels way off.
It does. If you try and like imagine what the drums should be when you hear the music before the drums come in, when the drums actually do come in, it sounds weird, syncopated, and just a very strange beat.
And the reason for that is because that is on 2 and 4 instead of 1 and 3 of the beats.
Which further goes to show their musicianship at writing and performing.
Yeah, because like you know how like people clap to a song, they normally do that on 1 and 3.
Yeah, so this is different.
So like that kind
rhythmically, it throws you off.
Yeah, rhythmically, it feels like it's late, but it's not.
But like I said, most popular. That's probably why they set the title to the album as the same as this, which is Marquee Moon. Lyrically, I think it's about hardships. Even in the first verse, which they return to at the end of the song, he talks about darkness doubled. Yeah. He says lightning that struck its...
the darkness doubled!
Yes, it did. And he talks about the lightning that strikes itself.
Lightning struck itself!
Which is pretty vivid imagery. It's kind of interesting.
I was listening.
You do not sound at all like... Well, you kind of sound like him. You sound more like David Bowie.
Oh.
That's what I think when you're sitting there. Apparently, the word Marquee Moon, and I read this, I don't know if it's true or not, is a metaphor for life passing over time in like how it can be slow and monotonous. I don't know. That's just what I read. And the song is really long and can be monotonous. Not in a bad way, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
The guitar line before the chorus, they go into this weird scale, and it almost sounds psychedelic again. Yes. But then after that, it sounds more major. And when it comes back in after that line, I almost think it's going to be a fast punk song, but that's just a drum fill. A fun little tidbit, they practiced, I read somewhere they were super well practiced before going into the studio to record this.
Really?
They did this in one take.
This song?
Yes, the engineer thought they were just rehearsing, and they're like, no, that's it.
Like, no, that's the take.
Yeah, so that goes to show off their musicianship.
That's crazy.
There's like a 4 to 5 minute like instrumental jam in this song.
Yeah, at the end, yeah.
And again, that shows off their skilled musicianship.
That's pretty crazy. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've read that in multiple sources, so it's got to be true. First-hand sources, I think the engineer said that, so that's pretty cool.
Wow.
Honorable mention, check it out, but I didn't recommend it. I really went back and forth between going with this one or Friction, so I chose Friction. On to song number 5, which is called Elevation. I gave it a rating of Cartoon Network. Oh. Can be good, can be stupid.
It's good on Saturday morning, if you want to watch cartoons.
If you want to watch cartoons, that's right. Anyhow,
on to the next one.
It's a slower song, but I get bored with it. The chorus is cool, but I get bored. On to song number 6, which is called Guiding Light. I gave this a rating of TBS on Christmas Day, which obviously they play the Christmas Story 24 hours. And any other time that you're watching the Christmas Story, it's great. You can watch it and have a great time. But when they're playing it back to back to back, you don't really watch it. It's a background thing. Yeah, okay. That's why I said that.
Okay.
This song,
wait, your rating was TBS on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's another slow song like Elevation, the last song.
Yeah.
The guitars are lulling and kind of spacey. It sounds like you're floating. But musically, it really doesn't go anywhere for me. It's a good song, but I didn't recommend it.
Okay.
On to song number... What was that? That was song number 6, so we'll go into song number 7, which is called Prove It, which I did. It's my last recommendation.
Prove It!
I gave this a rating of Food Network.
Oh.
Usually I can be entertained with anything on there, but they played Chopped so much on Food Network.
And Chopped is one of the best shows ever.
So the song Prove It, not only is it a change of pace from the last 2 songs, which were slow, but I think this might be a huge change of pace concerning the whole album. Mm-hmm. This song has this weird, I don't know if it's like an arpeggiated guitar line, but it's which almost reminds me of like an old pop song.
Yeah.
And that only really happens during the verse and pre-chorus, and when they get to the chorus, it almost sounds like a return to their former sound.
Okay.
But the verses are just really cool sounding, and next to the very first song, "See No Evil," I think this is the second most fun song on the album. It's
Okay.
I don't know. Like I said, for most of the other songs, I'm not really sure what it's about. I think it might be about him investigating life because he talks about like having a case that he's been working on for a long time and trying to prove something.
Yeah.
But the verses, it's hard to kind of figure out what the case is. Maybe he's investigating life. I don't know. It's just a really fun song. It's not depth-wise, I don't have that much to add to it, but I enjoyed listening to this one.
Okay, cool.
It stuck with me. On to the last song number 8, which is called "Torn Curtain." I gave it a rating of C-SPAN because it's really boring. I like to skip this one.
C-SPAN.
However, lyrically, there's a lot of innuendo in this song.
Really?
I didn't know until I researched it. And it, depending on how you look at it, it can get pretty graphic.
Huh.
It's pretty sexual.
Yeah.
Lyrically, the whole thing's pretty much an innuendo for taking the virginity of a girl. Okay. Physically, it's the physical descriptor.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that. If you want to research it, go ahead. Could be considered pretty vulgar if you really read into it.
Well, a lot of poetry is like that.
Yes, but it's out there.
Huh.
Yeah, but it's whatever.
So what did you think overall?
Overall, it's a pretty good album. It's really different. And when I read that, because I listened to it a few times, and then I researched the band and found out that they were a CGBG band, that's what struck me the most. Because I heard the band, I was like, oh, a good rock and roll band. And then I was like, wait, they played in the punk scene with all these other bands? What?
Huh.
What is that?
Interesting.
So I'm trying to imagine like being at CGBG's on a weekend or whatever and seeing like all these crazy bands and then seeing television come up and it just like being oddly different. And obviously the fans that were there liked it enough for them to keep playing regularly.
Yeah, because they had like a regular show every week.
Yes,
right?
every week. That's
pretty
going
crazy.
from the Ramones to this.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That's cool. Don't get me wrong. And I think this is a really iconic album, so everyone should listen to it just for
I think so too.
The place that it had in history.
Yeah, I can pretty much guarantee that this album sounds like none other.
I agree.
Like nothing. This is the only album that sounds like this that I've listened to.
And during my research, this a side topic from the sound of it, this made so many top lists, like top 100 albums of all time. It was like the top 10 of the 70s albums, just most iconic rock albums, or all kind of things like that. But a lot of people don't really refer to this that I've ever heard of. And one person who was reviewing the album said this is an album for music lovers in the know.
Okay.
So like maybe a band's band or something like that.
It's like a band that isn't well known, but a lot of people
bands love it, or a lot of well-known music lovers.
So kind of like, well, there are a few other bands that I could think of like that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I think they've gone to influence bands of many different genres.
I wouldn't be surprised if Pennywise was influenced by them.
They could have been, for all I know.
Yeah.
Or if not directly, I'm sure they were indirectly influenced by a band that was influenced by television.
Yeah.
So definitely, I'd say down the chain of influences, Pennywise and television would be connected.
Yeah.
But Pennywise, I'd say, is very different than
Quite
television.
different. There are a lot of power chords.
Not only is there like a 30-year difference between the two bands, well, let's say 20 to 30-year difference.
Yeah.
But sound-wise,
But sound-wise, it is much different.
Yes, it is.
The first thing I'll say about this album is that they are a lot like Bad Religion.
I could see that, but be more specific.
Okay, yeah, not in the same way, like not in the same like musically, not the same musically at all, really, because all of their songs are very simple. Pennywise's songs.
Yeah.
But the reason that I say they're like Bad Religion is because Bad Religion and Pennywise both seem like they're using the punk genre as a vehicle to get their message across.
Okay, I can see that.
And I was watching this YouTube clip recently about a documentary, or not about a documentary, but it was a documentary.
Yeah.
And one of the guys from Pennywise was talking about how once Bad Religion came out with the album Suffer,
yes,
that like heavily influenced how they do songwriting, like in terms of the content of their songs. Okay, so like it being mostly about like social issues and like the evolution of the human species, pretty much. So a lot of the songs in here kind of deal with that type of thing. I will say that all of the songs are very catchy.
Yes.
They all sound very similar.
Can I predict what you're about to say?
Sure.
Well, I was just about to predict that you were going to say they all sound similar.
Okay.
Which I'm just interjecting real quick because I love Pennywise. They are a staple in the punk rock industry, but the main complaint that people have about them is that they sound the same throughout album to album, song to song.
Yeah.
Which I agree with, but I can
either be a blessing or a curse.
Yeah, just...
Because I'm sure people really like Pennywise and are glad that they stay the same.
Yeah. And I think Pennywise is happy with what they put out.
Yeah.
So why is that a bad thing?
Mm-hmm. I agree. But anyway, the album title From the Ashes, I can definitely see why they called it that. Because none of the titles of the songs are From the Ashes. But throughout the whole album, there are a lot of themes of rebirth, of becoming anew, of realizing that there's something that needs to be changed, changing it, and then realizing that it's better. So that whole idea of the phoenix dies and then is reborn from the ashes.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I think I kind of see why they named it From the Ashes.
Yeah.
And so the songs that I recommend all kind of have that same similar tie. And there are a couple of honorable mentions that I also recommend that are also in that same vein of thinking.
Fair enough.
So the track number 1, or the first song, I was going to say the first song, but then I said, so the track number 1.
So the track number 1.
The track number 1 is called Now I Know.
Now I know.
Yeah, Now I Know.
And now you know.
The title of track number 1.
Classic.
This song, I think, is a really great opening song.
Now I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But basically, this song has a lot to do with what I was talking about earlier, Rising from the Ashes. It's a song basically about figuring out your path in life, essentially. So the song title, Now I Know, he talks a lot about now I know that that wasn't right for me, and I'm just saying general statements of what the song means.
Yeah.
Not actual lyrics. Now I know this past way that I was doing something is wrong, and now I know, so now I'm going to move forward.
Yeah.
Learn. Yeah, so I'm going to learn from my past and move forward. But I gave that song 5 out of 5 and a stizzar. A star or a recommendation, yeah. Track number 2 is called God Save the USA.
So I think this might have been the first Pennywise song I ever heard.
Oh, really?
Back when I was in middle school or something.
Interesting.
I was like,
that's kind of cool.
I like this.
You're ooh, it's fast.
It's still one of my favorite songs. I learned this one on the guitar and I used to play along with the album all the time.
Yeah. This is a very, if you didn't guess it by the name of the song, it's a very political song.
Very political. Angsty, punk rock political.
Yep. Talking about how we're living in a terrible society where all they care about is money and factories and capitalism is bad, and all we need are more factories to build up into the sun.
Sky.
Pumping filth into the sky. Yeah,
that's nothing new.
And
no new ground, I guess. Politically,
it's definitely not new ground. I gave this an honorable mention, 4 to 5.
Okay,
because it's really catchy and I really really like it. And in some ways, I kind of agree with them on a cynical level, but not that much of a cynical level, Anyway, the next song, track number 3, is called Something to Change. This is also has a lot to do with the main theme of From the Ashes. Mm-hmm. This is a song where you realize that you need something to change. That something is wrong and you need to change.
That's what the chorus is all about, needing something to change.
Yeah.
Whatever that something may be.
And I gave that a 3.5 out of 5. So on to track number 4, which is an honorable mention, 4 out of 5. It's called Waiting, which leads right in from I realized I need something to change, and now I'm waiting. So he's
waiting.
It's a song about waiting for what I believe they're saying is to find the way to peace or solace or the last piece to the puzzle.
Yeah.
To shalom.
Shalom.
to figuring out, like what the purpose of your life is, and then, living that way. So the last song kind of leads into this one. And I think that, it's so hard to like give honorable mentions and recommendations because they're all so similar.
Yeah, I can understand that.
This one sounds essentially the same as the last song.
Essentially. But I like that they're pretty consistent with the sound on this album.
They definitely are.
It's I guess we didn't really talk about them outline band wise who they are or whatever.
Oh, true. Yeah, do that real quick.
We can do that midway through Jesse's review. They are, I'd say, I don't know, like I said, a staple in the punk rock industry. I'd say a skate punk band, similar to NoFX in that genre. Maybe
drums.
Somewhat similar to Bad Religion's sound. They've got one guitarist, one bass player, one drummer, and one singer.
The guitarist isn't that the band where the guitarist is like 7 feet tall?
He's huge. His name's Fletcher Dragge. I think that's his last name. I think it's spelled like Dragge, so I never know how to pronounce it.
Dragge.
But he's a big guy. I think he plays an Ibanez guitar that's like 1 1/4. Like, because you know how they'll talk about 3/4 size guitars?
Yeah.
His is 1 1/4.
Oh, it has
so
to be bigger?
It's bigger. Like the neck's longer.
To accommodate his size.
Yes, which is really funny because
That's
you hear about the kids getting smaller guitars because it's easier to play. For reference, for you guys, if you're not sure about guitar sizes, if you're familiar with Ed Sheeran, he plays a small guitar, which I believe is a 3/4 size. It's either 3/4 or like a 7/8 size
I think
guitar.
It's 3/4, yeah.
And so it's a small guitar.
And that looks normal on him.
Yeah. So Fletcher, the guitar player from Pennywise, plays, I believe it's a 1 1/4 size guitar.
And that looks small on him, doesn't it?
It looks regular. It fits him well. Pennywise is a great band. I've only seen them live once, but I've been listening for a long, long time. Their singer, his name is Jim Lindberg. I don't know if you've heard of him. Mm-hmm. He wrote a book called Punk Rock Dad, which I think I have on my shelf somewhere. But that's for another time. No, I do see it. It's right next to NoFX. Punk Rock Dad.
That's kind of cool.
And it inspired the movie called The Other F Word. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, you told me.
And they're not talking about the expletive. They're talking about fatherhood. And that movie kind of explores dads in punk rock music. Like Mark Hoppus from Blink-182 is in there. Even Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers makes a brief appearance.
Huh.
But that movie outlines Jim Lindberg, and in the end of the movie, he quits Pennywise to focus on his family.
Wow.
And they replaced him with a guy named Zoli. I think his last name's Tegelas.
Huh.
From the band Ignite. They made a great album, and now Jim Lindberg's back in Pennywise.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Oh wow.
There you go. Fun little history.
Cool. Anyway, I believe I was on track number 5, called Salvation, and I gave it 3 out of 5. We'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Track number 6 is called Look Who You Are. Give it 5 out of 5 and recommend it.
Oh, interesting.
Such a great chorus.
I might not have. I wouldn't have recommended this one, but I'm surprised.
And this is the song where I can really see the connection to the album title. And if you couldn't tell, a lot of my recommendations are based on their connection to the album title.
Okay, that makes sense.
So
that actually makes a lot of sense when you put it in that context.
This song, Look Who You Are, is a song about honest self-reflection. So taking like an honest look at the quote-unquote man in the mirror. You know that phrase?
The man in the mirror.
No, not that. But, I mean, technically
looking at the man in the mirror. Oh, man. This is not a Michael Jackson review. Sorry.
No, it's not.
Sorry.
It's also just a very catchy chorus, too.
Yeah.
Look who you are, just a member of society. Something cried to tragedy.
They don't really write intricate melodies by any stretch of the imagination, and a lot of the verses don't really have much of a melody at all.
So that kind of makes me think that they write the words first and then write
and then try to get them to fit somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this song is, again, about taking an honest look at yourself in the mirror, facing the, the inadequacies that you see in yourself, accepting them, and trying to work on them. So that's basically what this song is about, and that's why I recommended it, because it has a lot of connection to the title of the album.
I like how you kind of chose some recommendations based on the title. That's pretty cool. Makes sense. I like that.
Track number 7 is called Falling Down, 4 to 5, and it's very catchy.
Your pictures are falling down.
Not
Is that
Blink.
the song?
Nope. It's not Blink.
They're falling down. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Falling down. Oh, man. That song was way better than Falling Down by Pennywise. Sorry, Pennywise.
Oh my god.
Sorry, not sorry.
You'd probably say that
I have a
any Blink song is better than
Blink-182
every
book written
other
by
band.
Mark Hoppus' sister.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got a lot of first-hand accounts. And
Of
Blink-182, one of their
them?
first big, one of their first big tours, I believe, I don't know if it was to Canada or to Australia, but was with Pennywise.
Oh, really?
So they've got some fun anecdotes about that.
That's kind of cool.
They talk about how crazy Fletcher is.
The
big guitar player.
The big guitar player.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy. And Fletcher tried to go to, what's the guy's? The guy who puts on Warped Tour every year. He tried to get them to put Blink-182 on the tour, and the guy's like, nah.
Really?
Yeah. And then eventually, I think the following year, he put Blink on the tour, but not when Fletcher told him to.
Huh.
I can't remember his name. Kevin Lyman, or Lehman, however you pronounce it. That's the guy who does Warped Tour.
Probably Lehman. Or maybe Lemon.
Liz Lemon
What?
from 30 Rock.
Oh.
Or Jack Lemmon, the great actor.
Is that the guy in 30 Rock?
No, Jack Lemmon, I think I think he's in that movie Glenn Ross.
Never heard of it.
Alec Baldwin gives that crazy monologue.
Oh, yeah.
The leads are weak. Effing leads are weak. You're weak.
What is it?
Coffee is for closers.
Coffee.
Put that coffee down. Coffee is for closers. A, B, C. Always be closing. What a great speech. What a great
weird
speech.
speech.
That's the only part he's in the movie, is just for that monologue. He comes in to help them.
That speech makes you think, like, man, what would the point of that job be?
If you gotta really want, if that's
really
your
wanna sell
highest
stuff.
value in life, then that's good.
If you really want to sell stuff and make money, I guess.
If you really don't want to, then obviously that's not the job for you.
Yep. Anyway,
Moving on.
enough about life. Let's talk about an album about life.
Okay.
Am I right? Anyway, track number 8. I almost gave this an HM, an honorable mention. It's called Holiday in the Sun.
It has a good chorus.
Really great chorus.
Isn't this fun? It's a holiday in the sun.
Yeah, really great harmonies and melodies in that chorus.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason I really like that song, which is one of the small things.
They're not melodic and they're not harmonic. There's not harmonies going too often.
Yeah. So that's one of the small things in this Pennywise album where you're like, ooh, that's different.
When you hear harmony or a really cool melody,
you're like, oh wow,
different.
That's more than 3 notes apart from each other for the melody.
Which stands out in the next song, I think.
Yes, it does. The next song is a recommendation. Track number 9, 5 out of 5. Gave it a big star. Not the band Big Star, but
It's a good band.
this song is called "This Is Only a Test."
This is only a test of the emergency broadcast system.
Da, 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 da.
Our own reckless ambition.
Mm-hmm.
The castles we have that have all become our prison. Sorry.
It's all right.
Starts
The
off all
biggest
acoustic
change.
like.
That's the biggest change. You hear an acoustic guitar in this song.
On a Pennywise album, you hear acoustic
Yeah.
guitar.
What the hey?
What the hey?
What the hey yo?
Hey yo.
It's your birthday.
Hey. Oh.
Ah.
Inside joke between us.
Yeah. Well, we can tell you. We played this game.
Okay, we can tell it's a great joke.
We played this game called. It's not really a joke. It's just a story.
Yeah, we played this game that Becca brought over called
What's it called? It's called
iTunes, but
iTunes.
IYE iTunes.
iWe. That's how you spell. That's how you spell. I know.
IYE iTunes, and it's a game where the main goal is to get
There
your
are
teammate to
teams-
guess the
there-
song title.
Yeah, there are teams that compete against each other, and one of the challenges is hum it. So you have to hum a song.
There are 4 different songs on the card. You have to
Yeah,
try
you have to try to
your
get
team
4
get all of them.
points. So you have to hum one, and Steve was trying to hum the song "Hey Oh Hey Oh, Hey Ho" is it or
Hey Ho by the Lumineers.
by the Lumineers, and he was like, "Huh, huh."
And they didn't get it, so I was like, da 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 da. Hey! Hey!
And so immediately,
Everyone was like, "What are you doing?"
and so immediately, I
said, "It looks like you're pooping your pants." Are you constipated? I was like, "No."
Immediately, I thought that he was doing the song, "Huh, war, what is it good for?"
For most of the game, I was pretty good, but for that song, I just couldn't do it. I was too.
Oh my
I was too
gosh.
loud and crazy.
It was so funny. That game,
Oh, man.
that game's fun. They're not a sponsor, but check it out if you want.
Yeah, it's called iTunes.
If you like music and like, you know, kind of like a game like charades where you have to get charades,
Kind of like
and
charades,
like
because you
catchphrase.
gotta hum. There's one where you gotta draw, and then there's one where it's like a puzzle, it's like a picture
like a
puzzle.
picture puzzle, yeah. It's kind of a fun game.
Shout out to iTunes. It's a great game.
Yeah.
Back to
the
this
song.
Is only a test.
This is only a test. So yeah, acoustic guitar, and basically what I'm going to say about the meaning of this song is that it's ironic.
Yeah.
That they're saying that this is only a test, because this is another song talking about the state of society and like being very political. Mm-hmm. So they're like, this.
How's it go?
This is only a test of the emergency broadcast system.
This is a product of our own reckless ambition.
Yeah. One of the lines in it, they say, is that we're all waiting for someone to save us from ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's, again, kind of this idea of we need to realize where we are and then figure out how to fix it and then rise up from the ashes of the past.
Yeah.
To move forward.
Nice connection there.
I'm just saying. That's why they named it From the Ashes.
Side note, current events corner, I guess, whatever you would call this.
Sure.
You know what wasn't a test? What happened in Hawaii? I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but it's crazy. I don't know if you know about... I'm sure you do. We all have smartphones. Like, if there's an Amber Alert or like a weather emergency, sometimes we'll get notifications on our phones telling us.
Yep.
Apparently in Hawaii, all these peoples were getting a notification that there was a nuclear ballistic... I think it said nuclear ballistic missile. Was inbound for Hawaii. Missile. It says, take shelter. This is not a drill.
This is not a test of the emergency broadcast system.
Ironically, it was someone working for some defense something or other in Hawaii accidentally pressed a button, and so it was a mistake that went unchecked for about 13 minutes.
Yeah.
But can you imagine that? Like getting a notification on your phone saying,
"Oh my
God, a bomb is coming in. Take cover.
For
this
13
is not a drill."
minutes. For 13 minutes, you think you're like about to die, maybe.
I'd be like, "Oh no, we're gonna die. Let's go get some Taco Bell quick before it's all over."
And then they're like, "That was only a test." And then you're like, "Crap!
Well,
I just had Taco Bell."
At least I got Taco Bell. So there's gonna be a bomb somewhere else, like the toilet. Taco Bell bomb.
A TBB.
Taco Bell bomb.
Taco Bell bomb.
Yeah, and it's unpredictable when that bomb's going to hit. But it will happen after Taco Bell, that's for sure.
Have you seen... I saw a meme today of Baby Groot almost pushing that button in the movie. And they were like, people in Hawaii right now, or like the person in Hawaii who accidentally pushed that button. And it's Baby Groot being like, should I push this button?
That's from Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
I don't know that part. I still have to watch it.
Oh.
Anyway.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. It's the best line.
Oh my goodness.
All right, moving on, I guess.
Anyway, yeah, moving on. I'm going to go through these last ones pretty quick, except for one of them. Track number 10 is called Punch Drunk.
That was usually a skipper for me.
3.5 out of 5.
Sounds like a skipper for you, too.
So, track number 11 is We Gotta Rise Up.
I like this song. I especially
We
like
gotta rise up.
The drum intro.
I gave this song 4 out of 5. And again...
Rise up from the ashes?
Exactly. On the same theme of From the Ashes.
Yeah.
The song is about picking your... It's the old phrase of pick yourself up by the bootstraps.
Yeah.
You know?
Classic.
On to track number 12. This is called Yesterdays. This is an honorable mention for me. I liked it a lot.
This one, I don't dislike the song. It's not a favorite for me.
But listen to why it's an honorable mention.
Okay, tell me why.
Because it is a song that, again...
Tell me why.
Oh my gosh. It is a song that, again, connects to that theme of From the Ashes. That theme of not living in ignorance about a problem. because this song is all about like reminiscing about days past, about like reminiscing about days that were simpler, that made more sense, that weren't challenging or
A
something like
simpler
that.
time.
Yeah. Oh, it was back in a simpler time.
Back when we were picking potatoes in Ireland, it was a much simpler time.
Oh gosh.
Before we were on the streets when there was war.
Back when there was no industrial revolution
Back before
It was
Daniel
much
Day-Lewis
simpler.
was killing us from the gangs.
of New York.
Yeah, he was building the butchering us all over
Who
the
are we?
place.
The wild rabbits. 2 rabbits. Is that what it's called?
I remember when we came from the old land. All we did was pick potatoes.
And then there was our
Now-
priest, Liam Neeson.
Yeah, the priest Liam Neeson.
Well, then he died in battle.
Yeah, from when he was in the old land, you know what he did?
Where's his son?
He used to pick potatoes, but now he went into battle and he is no more.
But luckily his son's here.
Yes,
Maybe
Leonardo
he'll avenge
DiCaprio
us.
Neeson.
Oh, wait. But then he gets into a fight with Daniel Day-Lewis. Oh, no.
He's like, I'm
But then
gonna
there's
build
a-
a butcher you.
But then there's another battle.
My eyeball's American. Whoopsie daisy. We can't give the whole premise of this movie right now.
But then there's another battle.
The movie's like 2.5 hours long.
Spoiler alert. But then there's another battle going on when
Why is this still
when
going on?
Daniel Day-Lewis and Leonardo DiCaprio are both fighting each other. There's a whole nother battle going on.
All right, Amsterdam.
Yeah, you be him.
Whoopsie daisy, Amsterdam. I'm gonna build a butcher you.
Leonardo DiCaprio doesn't really have a thick accent in that movie.
No, I'm doing Bill the Butcher.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying, what should I do for Leo?
I don't.
Because he's like, this war ends today. That's the New York accent. Never mind. This war, I'll just do it. This war ends today.
Let's nip this bit in the bud.
But then the best scene of all,
The very last scene.
the very last
Yeah.
scene when
Um,
they show the skyline of New York being built over time, and
over in the
you realize that everything in the previous
Everything is
2
for naught.
hours that you watched are pointless.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you're
so
like,
there's a point to it. It's
and
just
you're like, history.
time might forget it.
People of the present forget history
Yeah.
too easily.
That was a huge gress.
That was.
I
I think it was worth having.
I don't know if we outlined
because
the
you
movie.
got to rise up.
The movie is called Gangs of New York.
Yeah.
I believe it's Martin Scorsese.
Yep.
It's a great film. Check
Daniel
it out.
Day-Lewis.
It was on Netflix. I'm not sure if it still is.
Might not
if
be.
it's not on Netflix, pick it up on DVD. You can probably find it for $5 somewhere.
It's great.
a really good movie.
That's great.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, Yesterday's. It's a great song. Okay, I'm gonna finish this up. All right.
All right, finish it up.
The track number 13 is called "Change My Mind."
You know
And-
what I changed my mind about? Picking potatoes. Now I'm going to war. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna... Back to change
Oh,
my
you
mind.
know what? I think I changed my mind.
Whoopsie,
Whoopsie daisy! No, I didn't.
All right, Amsterdam. This is a kill.
You take this knife and you just make this nice clean cut on this piece of meat.
It's like, what's he say? This is an injury. This is a kill.
Yeah.
Whoopsie daisy.
He says like, "This is how you kill a man." Okay.
He does it on a
On a pig
yeah,
carcass.
that's hanging in a
He's
butcher
like,
shop.
"This is a kill. This isn't a kill. This is just an injury."
And this is a pig.
And then he's like, "Now take this meat back to your family. This is a present for you."
That is going back to the movie. We did actually in my civics class in 8th grade. We watched a portion of this movie, Tammany Hall voting, because that actually happened in real life. While this movie is based on historical facts, like the corruption of the government, where they would get people to vote 2 or 3 times to vote for him. He would get these guys to vote, then he would take them to the barber shop to get their beards cut and a haircut and send them right back into the polls.
And then he would have like a bath, like give him a bath and whatnot.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Crazy. But we need to stop talking about this movie.
Anyway, it's a great movie.
It is.
But anyway, I'm gonna go to the last 2 tracks.
Yeah.
No more regresses.
You got it, dude.
As I was saying before, track number 13 is called "Change My Mind."
Mm-hmm.
And I give it 4 to 5, and it is basically saying that you are resolved in your point of view.
I'm gonna
So,
change my mind.
Now that we're at the end of the album, you see what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
Now that we're at the end of the album, they've picked themselves up by the bootstraps. They've rose up. Sorry.
Rose up, yeah. They rised up.
They rised up. And now they're saying, we're not changing our mind. We're going to keep our resolve to move forward from the ashes.
Word.
And the last song is called Judgment Day. 3 out of 5, but there are some nice yas.
I don't like the yas in this song.
Don't you like the fact that it's like a pickety third?
Well, that's
Or
fine.
a
But
kind of pickety third?
the yas in general, I don't really care for, but that's fine.
That's all right.
That's fine.
That's all right.
You know who didn't escape Judgment Day? Whoopsie daisy, Bill the Butcher.
Bill the Butcher didn't, but Amsterdam did. Kind of.
Kind of. I don't know. Who knows?
None of them did because it ends in present day. But anyway, enough about that movie.
2 pretty good albums, in my opinion,
Let's
for very different reasons. You got your recommendation for next episode?
Yes, I do. Do you?
I most certainly do.
Alrighty. Let's get to it then.
All right, what am I listening to?
You are going to be listening to an album by Band of Horses.
Did you say it slow so you could look up what the name of the album was?
Yeah.
I say that as if I don't know what you're doing because I'm watching you look up the album as you say it very slow.
I was going to say, for those of you who are listening in slow motion, that would have been very slow.
But yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Could
in
you
slow
listen
motion.
to things in slow motion?
I don't know. You probably, if you took the
Like,
audio and
not
did
a
it yourself,
video, but like not like I'm making a slow motion video on your
I'm
phone.
sure you could. Who knows?
But anyway, you are going to be listening to the album Cease to Begin by the Band of Horses.
All right, and you're going to be listening to an album by the band Rise Against.
For those of you listening in slow motion, that was Rise Against.
Yes.
Oh wait, listening in slow motion, yeah.
The album's called The Sufferer and the Witness.
Okay.
That's probably their... there are other albums I like better, but
Rise
this is their
Against.
biggest, I'd say their mainstream
Hit.
breakthrough
Okay.
album.
I've definitely heard of Rise Against. I have not listened to them that much though.
If you heard their biggest radio song, it's on this one probably.
I probably
You
have.
probably know at least 1, maybe 2 songs on this album.
We'll talk about that afterwards to see if I
we
know
will.
what it is.
All right, but we'll listen to those albums, and then in 2 weeks we'll review them.
Why don't we give a last view on our beers here?
Yeah, Jesse and I both have exactly 1 sip left in our cups.
Yep.
We have the exact same amount of beer in both of our cups.
If you were to measure the amount of beer in like one of those
measuring cups?
beakers
Beakers.
or a measuring cup,
The measurement would be
it
indistinguishable.
would be exactly the same.
Yeah. So
Like
let's-
not even a milli ounce off.
Has your taste changed about your beverage at all?
As it got warmer, it mellowed out more.
Okay, interesting.
Surprisingly.
I mean, mine stayed roughly the same. It didn't
Okay.
get any more pungent hop wise. It stayed crisp. I enjoyed it thoroughly throughout.
Same here.
Next time I'm up
would-
in PA, I would get this again.
Yeah, I would for sure get this again as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's say we give the yo.
All right, let's do it.
Yo.
Yo.
Shibbity-beep-doo!
Ah, so tasty. Whoopsie daisy! I
Whoopsie
finished
daisy.
my beer.
Whoopsie daisy! You did.
Whoopsie daisy! It's the end of the episode.
It is. Next week we'll be posting a one-off for whatever that. I can't remember which one it is, but
It'll be a surprise.
It'll be a surprise. It's gonna be a one-off, and then the episode after that will be our Rise Against Band of Horses episode.
Thank you
for
guys
listening.
so much for listening. Make sure to check us out on all the social medias.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Just look up American Brews and Tunes.
If you do, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening again. Until next time.
My name is Stephen Johnston,
And my name is Jesse Titus.
and this is American Brews and Tunes.
Oh!
Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes.
Shibbity-beeby-da!